Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amelia and I'm here to give you the tools, tips, and tricks for your intentional living, writing, and productivity needs to help you curate a life that you love. Now, if you've been on my channel for a little while, you probably noticed that my intro was a bit different, and that is because I'm niching down. I'm changing just a little bit because I realized that my channel's kind of all over the place. For a while I was talking about writing, blogging, and productivity, and I was like, that's great, but I haven't really been spending a lot of time talking about blogging, and I'm kind of veering away, not from the blogging world, because I absolutely love blogging, but I'm kind of veering away from talking about that as a topic on both my blog and on my YouTube channel. So I've changed it. Now, I will talk to you about the intentional living, writing, and productivity needs that you may have. I absolutely adore productivity. I love planning, I love goal setting, and intentional living kind of works its way into that. Living intentionally is super important to me, and I really love slow living, simple living, and just really grasping life and, taking control of everything that you have that exists around you and just kind of like going for it, getting what you want, and curating a life that you love. For today's video, I thought it would be interesting to try something a little bit different, so that way you can kind of get to know me better, so it's like a get to know me kind of video. Mostly, I just needed some kind of content to put out on October 2nd because my book, Witch in the Water, is going to be launched and released on October 6th, so if you want to know more about that, stay tuned. I will talk about that later in this video. But yeah, since I needed something to kind of put in October 2nd, and I needed something for October 6th. Basically, this is what happened. I'm assuming I'll make a different video for October 6th that has something to do with my book, and it probably won't be very long because, again, that's launch day and it's going to be a huge work day for me. For today, I thought I would do a questions to get to know yourself, but I'm going to be answering them for you guys so you guys can get to know me. I hope I don't share anything too weird. I got it off of Pinterest. It was posted by Autumn All Along on Pinterest, and so I don't know anything about Autumn at all, except that she posted this and I found it on Pinterest and I'm going to use it. So thanks Autumn All Along on Pinterest, because I'm going to use your questions. Question number 1, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Okay, so I'll be 30 in 10 years. I don't know where I'll be in 30 years. That's a long time. Like 30 years. Oops. I don't know where I'm going to be when I'm 30. I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. That's a long time. Like a 5-year plan is a bit more feasible for me. But I'll answer this one. I would hope that I am better off financially because I'm struggling so hard right now. So hard, in fact. I'm living less than paycheck to paycheck and I'm struggling. So I would hope that I'm more financially stable and secure. I would want to be living in a house that me and Matt own or are going to be finishing off the mortgage. I want it to be like a little farmhouse in some small town. I want to have some chickens and a big garden. Maybe kids when I'm 30. I don't know. I don't know if I want to have kids in my 20s. So like, I don't know. I really just want like a couple years to myself to just kind of, build my career and my portfolio and become a better writer and dedicate a lot of my time to travel. I don't really want to have kids too soon. I do want kids someday, but not anytime soon. So yeah, I guess in 10 years, just like a nice little happy homestead lifestyle with a lot of writing and some books published and a lot of travel experience. What are things you weren't expecting in life? There's a lot, actually, that I wasn't expecting in life. When I graduated high school, I was naive as heck, and I literally thought adulting would be the easiest freaking thing, and it's not. 2 years into my adulthood, pretty much, yeah, I was not expecting to be as broke as I am. I wasn't expecting jobs to be so inconsistent. Jobs are just they're not stable enough, and I didn't expect to be going in and out of them so often. I didn't expect a pandemic, in my early 20s. I didn't expect to have to drop out of college due to financial issues in my 20s. Yeah, life threw a lot of curveballs at me, and it's still throwing curveballs at me. I've realized that the whole world is out to get your money, and it sucks, because you can't fight it very well. So, thanks a lot, life. It's been really hard. Okay. Would you live where you do now for the rest of your life? No, I wouldn't. I actually don't like living in Indiana very much, mostly because I grew up in Indiana, but I feel like I'm gonna stay here in Indiana because my family and Matt's family live here and we both value our familial relationships, and so we're probably going to stick around close to them unless they all move, and then we're gonna have to figure that out. I originally wanted to live somewhere like South Carolina or like, I don't know, out west or something. I wanted to live in a different state, but I'll probably be in Indiana. I will admit I like northern Indiana just a little bit more than I like central Indiana. For one, I love the beach. I love going to Indiana Dunes. It is so nice in the summer. It was like my favorite thing. I like being able to hike all their trails, and I like being close to Michigan because there's a lot of campsites and outdoor activities that Matt and I like to partake in. I also really like being close to Chicago in a way, because I like to visit the city and just kind of go out on a date or go to museums and such. But I will admit, I don't always like northern Indiana. I think that some of the neighborhoods up here aren't the best. They're not super safe. And then of course, you know, living so close to the city is interesting because, you know, Chicago has a bunch of laws that we don't have in Indiana. Like, you have to pay 7 cents for a plastic bag, which is really cool for the environment, but not for me, who's used to getting free plastic bags. Of course, usually I take reusable bags, but still, you pay extra for water bottles. There's a lot of weird taxes. You have to be really careful about parking in Chicago. I got tickets like a lot for parking incorrectly. There's just a lot of different things that, you know, are great and not great up here. I really love the small town which I live in. I think that it's just a cute little place and I really enjoy it, but I think I'm probably going to move further into the suburbs or like further into like rural areas because I really enjoy a lot of space and green grass and trees, which you don't see when it's super populated and urban. What are some of your greatest strengths? I come with a fantastic personality. Just saying. Well, I think I'm a good writer, and gosh, this feels like a job interview. Like I've done so many applications for freelance work that like this is just gonna sound like I'm trying to apply to a job. Yeah, I'm really organized. This is so strange. I am a really good writer. I have a passion for digital marketing and I talk a lot. Is that a strength or a weakness? What personality test have you taken that you relate to the results the most? That's a hard one. I love personality tests. The first one that comes to mind is being an INFJ on the Myers-Briggs 16 personalities test. I feel like I know a lot about them, but like not enough to be confident on the internet and say things. So, but yeah, I guess I relate to that a lot. To be honest, I really relate to my Hogwarts house. I'm a Slytherin, and I like being a Slytherin. I like the ambition and the cleverness that comes with it. I'm not evil, I don't think. How did people describe you as a child? Okay, this is about to get deep, alright? When I was a kid, I was always told that I was wise beyond my years and that I was able to hold really intriguing conversations like the adults could. I was mature for my age. I was a gifted and talented student. When I was in the 2nd grade, I got put into the IDEA program, which is basically the gifted and talented program at my school. And I was the first in my grade to be part of that program. And then my 6th grade teacher was always like, you guys are the cream of the crop. You know, we were the best of the best. We were the smartest of the smartest, whatever. As a kid, I got told that a lot. And as I grew up, I just realized that a lot of us, yeah, maybe we were smart and we were great at following directions, but like, I don't necessarily think that made us like super mature, and like, I feel like we were held back in a certain way. In a way that like, you know, we were held to this high standard, so if you had an emotional breakdown as a 5-year-old, then the grown-ups were like, that's just so immature of you, we expected better. And I think that's a big problem with being an adult now, is that a lot of people have such high expectations for me because I was so successful in school. Where does your mind wander when you are doing something monotonous? Dishes? That's monotonous and I absolutely hate them. I think I don't even think I think when I do the dishes. I honestly can't remember doing them. I hate them so much. I block it out of my memory. A lot of the times when I'm just in silence, especially like on car rides, really long car rides, or like, you know, when I'm driving for 3 hours straight to go back home to see my family, I think about the books and stories that I want to write. There's a couple that I always come back to, and I just really dive into it. I have this intriguing issue called maladaptive daydreaming, and essentially it's when you daydream so much that you end up talking to yourself, and it's maladaptive because you don't get anything else done. I have noticed that I don't do it as much as I used to, but when I'm really sad or stressed, I still do it, and guess what happens? Nothing. I just daydream for like hours straight, and then I go to sleep. So, you know, that's why it's maladaptive. But yeah, I go to my story worlds, my fantasy worlds that I create so I can avoid the real one. What word would you pick to represent your goals for the year? That's actually really interesting. So I read this thing close to New Year's in 2016, I believe. It was like 2015 going into 2016, and there was like a quote on Pinterest or something where they were like, everybody's first words for the new year are Happy New Year. You know, it's not like an actual sentence. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be different. I'm not going to say Happy New Year as the first statement that I say in the year. I'm going to say something else. So the first statement I said in 2016 was I believe, and I got that tattooed on my arm. But not I believe, just the definition of believe. But it holds a lot of meaning to me because at the time I was struggling really hard with depression and I didn't know how to handle it because I was 16 and stupid. I since have written down every word that I do for each consecutive year. I think the words for 2020 was I try, like, or I will try, because I feel like I was struggling so much at the end of 2019 and I just didn't want to struggle anymore and I wanted to try harder. So I think that's what it was. I can't remember. 2020 has been a blur and it feels like it's been dragging on forever. What are your favorite books? I have a video on that actually that I can link below if you want to know my real favorite books. But I can tell you that one of my favorite books, the first one that came to mind, aside from the Harry Potter series, because that like molded my 11-year-old childhood basically, is anything by Neil Gaiman pretty much. I absolutely love his work and I love how hauntingly descriptive like all of his stories are, and they're just beautiful. And I wish I could write as dark and creepy as him, but I can't. I can't do it. That's not my style, unfortunately, but I absolutely love it. What traits are important to you in a friend? Yeah, what is important to me in a friend? I don't know. I really like people. I like learning about their lives. I'm just like really invested in humans. So like any human is a good friend. I sound like an alien. I promise I'm not. But any like person's like, you know, really interesting to me. But I think a lot of my friends, okay, this is a must. A good friend of mine has to enjoy like hour to 3 hour long conversations about anything and everything. I thrive on deep conversations about time travel, about politics, about ethics, about culture, about religion, about books. Like, you really need to be able to invest like an hour with me and just talk, and that's all we can do. Like, maybe you can drink a drink or have a snack while we do it, but like you need to be able to stay in one place and just have a conversation, and if you can't do that, we can't be friends. That's how it works. What is the place in your home that feels the most yours? I actually thought about this last December or January whenever Matt finally moved in, because before he moved in, pretty much the whole house was mine. I lived by myself and it was just kind of all mine. I thought the office, which is where we are now, I thought it was mostly his, and I think it's about even. I do more work in here now, so it feels more mine. Like, this little space feels very much mine, but I think the living room feels the most mine. Like, it feels the most like my space. When Matt's in here, or if he's in the bedroom or something, like, I'll be in the living room on the couch and I'll be like embroidering or reading or listening to a podcast, watching movies, YouTube. Like, the couch is where I spend a lot of my recreational time, not a lot of work time. Sometimes I edit videos on the couch, but most of the time I work in here and I relax out in the living room, and I feel like that's my space. Like, that's my creative winding down space, I guess. What is something you feel strongly about and why? Okay, this is also really random, but I feel super strongly about the generational differences between millennials, the middle group and Gen Z. And why did I call it the middle group? Because I firmly believe that my boyfriend is a millennial and my sister's a Gen Z and I'm somewhere in the middle, okay? Hear me out. My boyfriend is 25 years old and I am 20. My sister is 16 and I feel as far apart from both of them, like equal. I feel equally far apart from both, really. He holds so many different values and like ways to look out at life. Like, while I might share my sister's nihilism when it comes to living, I also share my boyfriend's hope for a better future that my sister doesn't have. And by nihilism, I really do mean like, well, the whole world sucks and it's probably gonna go up in flames, but I hope it won't. Where he's kind of like, the world is, it's tough, but it's not going up in flames and I hope for a better future. My sister's like, no, we're all screwed and there's no hope and who cares? I feel like I'm caught between these two idealisms of like millennial like idealisms and like Gen Z like perspectives. I feel like I'm trapped in the middle, and I've talked to a lot of people who are in this weird age gap between like the year 1998 and like 2002. I feel like that just weird 4-year gap is strange. Like, millennials all remember, you know, growing up with sidewalk chalk and being outside because YouTube wasn't really a big thing. And to be honest, YouTube didn't show up, and most social media, honestly, that I knew anybody using or I was using, I didn't really see it until I was in like the 7th and 8th grade. A lot of my friends didn't have cell phones until the 7th or 8th grade, and iPhone didn't become big until the end of 7th grade, beginning of 8th grade. So like, a little after puberty, that's when the whole world seemed to change for me. While my sister grew up with an iPad in her hand, I grew up playing outside like the rest, but I got technology and like the internet and everything that came with it like in my, you know, preteen years when I was trying to discover myself. So I feel kind of like caught in between. Okay, so I felt strongly about that. What's the next thing? Okay. What is one stereotype that people assume about you that isn't true? I don't know. I think when I was a freshman in high school, this one girl that I ended up working with, we both became student workers for our orchestra teacher, she had told me that I seemed kind of unapproachable and stiff. Like, I was a very prudish kind of person, kind of, you know, stiff and very self-disciplined and kind of rigid and not very friendly. And of course she was like, oh my gosh, I was so wrong. So I guess that's what people might think. I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm really open and I don't really like put on any persona when I go outside, like when I go anywhere. I'm still very giggly and bubbly and friendly. I'm a very approachable person, so, you know, like, I guess I just kind of, maybe they think I'm prudish. I don't really know. What is something you're saving up for? Everything. Let's see, I'm saving up for a lot of things. I am saving up to pay off all of my student debt. It wasn't worth it. I am saving up to put a down payment on a house and begin paying for a mortgage. Saving up at the moment, this is more pressing, I'm trying to save up so I can get a bumper for my car because I got in a car accident and I've been driving without a bumper, so I really need one because winter's coming and I don't know how well my car is going to handle that. Yeah, those are like the things I'm saving up for. I'm not really saving up for anything else, I don't think, at the moment. I mean, I don't really think about what I'm going to spend my money on as much as how can I get money to pay the bills? Like, that's my focus. What is an unpopular opinion that you have? Yeah, I was struggling to figure that one out. I feel like I don't know, like I feel like so many things these days are so controversial with like the elections coming up and everybody kind of being like all over the place. So I feel like almost everything's an unpopular opinion, or the things that are unpopular opinions as far as like, I don't know, people say on the internet, they're actually not the unpopular version. So I don't know if I have anything that's like unpopular. I like pineapple on pizza. I think it tastes good. I mean, I'm like kind of intolerant to pineapple and it makes me sick and it makes my face swell up, but I like it on pizza even though it hurts. So there's that. Oh, this is a good question. What are habits that you're working on building? If you guys have seen my habit tracker or my plan for October video, then you know that I am still working on writing 2,000 words a day, reading for 1 hour a day, exercising for 30 to 45 minutes a day, and like learning for about an hour a day. learning was so broad, I actually kind of narrowed it down to language learning specifically for the month of October. So my goal is to practice my Japanese and then a couple of other languages just for the fun, like just for funsies. But I really want to practice my Japanese, and I need to keep watching movies and stuff in Spanish or I'm gonna lose that. So yeah, I've been building those habits for a while now. I don't even remember what day I'm on, like maybe day 30 something of like some of those habits, and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't done all of them like I'm supposed to every single day. And I think it's something that I'm really trying to implement into my routines, and it's only partially working. What is something you enjoy doing that you aren't particularly good at? This is also hard, and I don't mean to sound so conceited, but like, I'm not really, I don't know, things aren't really hard to me. If I don't get something right, then I just try it again. I didn't get embroidery right the first couple times I did it, and I just kept trying until eventually I think I got it. I don't really know. I think keeping routines, I don't know, like exercising every day, that's super hard for some reason. Maybe that's like a thing that I'm doing that's kind of hard to do. I don't know. It's not like you can't be good at, like, it's not like you can be bad at exercising. I just am bad at maintaining my habits. That sounds great. That's like the bulk of my channel is maintaining things that you tell yourself that you're gonna do. Oh, productivity. Alright, so there's only 2 questions left. So, what is one of your favorite character traits about yourself? I feel like this goes along with one of the other questions. Okay, I'll just go with it. Favorite character trait about myself? I really like how I do things out of spite. If you tell me I can't do something, then I typically do it, depending. Like, I have to actually want to do it, I guess, or prove you wrong. But if you're like, oh, Amelia, you can't, like, someone told me this. They're like, you can't publish a book by October. It's already August and you don't have the whole thing written. And I was like, you want to go? Because I bet if I dedicate myself to writing and revising and editing my book, I bet I can publish it in October. And guess what? It's gonna be published in October. So my spite, my ability to do things out of spite. Great character trait, sometimes. Okay, what advice would you give yourself 10 years ago? Okay, so I was 10. As a 10-year-old, I don't know what kind of advice I needed. You know, I was still trying to find myself. Maybe I'll do one that's like 5 years ago. So we'll do one that's 5 years ago, when I was 15. And I would, oh gosh, man, when I was 15, life was weird. I guess I would say to try to do things that I love and keep pursuing them. I would tell myself not to go to college. And I would tell myself to build a portfolio and start freelance work a lot sooner than I did. I would have told myself that if I did take my gap year in college, to try to build a portfolio and do more freelance work while I was still working at Target. I would have told myself to kind of go after your passions and take life by the reins a lot sooner, because that's like something I realize now, and I'm glad I realized it now at 20 rather than like 40 or 50 or something. But I kind of wish that I had started a little bit sooner and had understood that, you know, life was going to be exactly as it is now. I mean, nobody can foresee the future, but if I could go back and tell myself anything, it would be just to follow my passions right from the start. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was somewhat informative and helps build our relationship. You know, I think having a relationship is super, super important. Plus, I kind of wanted you guys to have an honest view of how productive I am. So productive. Anyway, thank you for watching today's video. If you like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I plan to post more content, not necessarily about this, but about intentional living, writing, and productivity, so I really hope you stick around for that. Anyway, thank you, and I think we're done.